everybody, Roberto Colombo here. Long time no see you, and I have a new tutorial for you, requested by people on a Reallusion forum, because we have some news. One of our best member in the Reallusion forum community, his name is Rampa, has discovered a very cool software developed by a small company in Italy, which make it possible to create crowds of hundreds of moving characters with few mouse clicks and then import into iClone. So finally we can populate our scene with all of these characters without impacting too much the memory used by our scene, and also doing, of course, in a very reasonable and quick time. So the final result that is the outcome of this tutorial is going to be shown here. You can see, while I keep on talking, you can see what is that. We have a path going around the mountain, and there is people walking back and forth along this path, who knows going where, but that doesn't matter. So the first things that we have to do to get going on the tutorial is how do I integrate iClone with Anima. AnimaXYZ, this is the name of the software. AnimaXYZ make it possible to create crowds once we have imported a background. It's called a background. Basically it's the terrain, the area where we have to then populate our moving character. So my first task is to create a mesh, an image of this terrain, and export so that I can then import into Anima. So this is a terrain developed by Dico, one of the content developer on the Reallusion marketplace, and this is a height map terrain, so there is no way to export into anything. By the way, I'm using the FBX export format. So this is an IMAP terrain, so I cannot export as a mesh in XBX, so I need to use some tool, and this is how to do. So with my terrain selected, let's select it, terrain here. I want to export the height map, and clicking this button, I open the mesh. I open the height map PNG file into my image editor, which is a Gimp, which is a free image editor. Once it's in, I don't do anything but just exporting and save my PNG file. Let's put it here into my area where I setting this stuff for this tutorial. So let's keep the same name, doesn't matter, and I have exported it. Once it has exported, now how can I create a mesh from this height map PNG? I use Blender, which is a free 3D modeling tool. It's not known by everybody how to use it, so I will describe very clearly which combination of hotkey I'm using to do the various operations. So first I remove the splash screen by left mouse click. Then I remove the cube using X or delete key. I create a plane using Shift A, and then select plane. The plane is placed here. Now this plane is a very simple object with 4 vertices. In order to allocate the height map over it and create my terrain, I need to improve the resolution, so I need to create more vertex, and this can be easily done by entering into edit mode and subdividing, let's say 10 times. Okay, done. Sorry. And then I subdivide the second time, so we are 100, and then the third time, so this means about it's a 1000 vertex, should be enough. Now I can get out from edit mode and enter again to object mode. So how to assign the height map picture over it? To do this, I enter into the texture tab here, this little icon, and here I create a new texture, and the default type of texture is already set as image or movie, so you don't have to do anything. Anyway, it's this one, and and now I need to assign the image, so I open and select the texture, the iMap image that I previously saved. It was here, tutorials, iClone, here, this is. Okay, that's my texture. Now, with my object selected, I go to the modifier tab, that is this one, and I add the displace modifier, and the displace modifier I assign my texture, and that's it. My terrain is created. Okay, the resolution is a bit coarse, so in reality I think I have to subdivide one more time. Yes, in fact I haven't done. Sorry for this. Subdivide. I don't know why it remains so coarse. Okay, that should be better. And okay, let's do it again. So object, and assign. The modifier is still enabled, so I just okay. Renable texture now is much better, the resolution. Okay, that's it, nothing more than this, and now I need to export in FBX format, so I go to File, Export, FBX. Make sure to export only the mesh, so you have to have only mesh here enabled, and I'm not going to scale here, we'll do in iClone. So let's just export, and I put in the same folder, so here. Okay, and I give a name, let's call it base terrain, or terrain, okay. I call it terrain, and export. Okay, that's it, it's done. Now, I need to import this into iClone, and to do this I need to use the CDX, the FBX importer software called 3D Exchange. So let's open my FBX. Okay, it takes a while, and that's it. That's my terrain. And this is done, so now I can simply export into iClone. I don't use any texture, so you can keep it in the lowest value, so you don't embed any texture, because in reality we don't need it. And I export into the same directory. So, and the name I call terrain, that's fine. Okay, that's successfully exported, and now I go back to iClone and I can import my asset. So it's here, I have my terrain iProp, and I import here. Okay, it's very small, it's here basically. So first things I want to do is to scale it, increase, so that now my task is to map this terrain over the original one. So kind of manual approach, but not that difficult. I just first of all I want to make sure that it has the same width. So the best way to do is to see everything from the top. I can use the camera view top. Okay, a bit too much maybe. Okay. I want to align the border, okay, so that okay, this is a bit too much. big. Is a kind of manual generation. Now of course this terrain is very high, so I can scale down. Nope, not in this way. First, this is a prop, so first things to scale down is to move the pivot down at the bottom, and then I can scale down till it has the same height of the other one. So now it's easy to map. Okay, it's mostly similar. Very important this step because this gives the 100% mapping. It's almost impossible to reach 100%, but for the result I'm going to achieve is pretty much fine, as much as the path is overposed. You can see that is when you see all of this flickering moving the camera, this means that the mesh here of the original terrain and the prop generated terrain are almost overlapped, so I'm quite fine with this. That should be enough. Okay, I think that should be enough. Okay, now I have my terrain. Just want to make sure that this looks like here is slightly shifted. A bit. Of course, you can spend some more time to refine it as much as you like, but for the sake of this tutorial, it should be okay. Okay, now it's a nice snowy terrain, but what I need now is to get my terrain, and finally I can export into the FBX format. I can do directly from iClone and export, and I can okay, I don't need to embed any texture. I can just export in FB with this setting, and I put my terrain into the same directory. Let's call Anima background. And we are done. Okay, now our job in iClone is done. Don't remove the terrain, keep it as it is, because we will use it later on when we map the crowd. So now we can go finally into Anima and create a new empty project. In reality I already created. When you create an empty project, Anima populate with few characters, few pathway, then you can remove, but just to show you how to do, you create a new empty project. Okay, I can create it. Okay, that's a folder, and let's create crowd. Crowd. Actually, I don't need to create this. I can simply stay here and create here. Crowd and call. Okay, it has already done. Fine. Let's call it crowd. Now unit, I haven't analyzed yet. I always use a centimeter, but I don't think it makes so much difference. But okay, anyway, I keep this on centimeter. Okay, I create my empty project, and now I need to create the scene. I can call it again crowd, my scene, crowd, and create my scene. Okay, that's now my empty space, and what I have to do is to import my FBX, and I can do here in the background tab, where here Anima propose 4 default template of background, but I can import my one. which is my Anima background that I just saved from iClone. And I use again centimeter, up axis Z minus, and that's fine. Okay, Anima asks if I want to use this FBX as a background. Of course I want it, and that's my background imported into Anima. Okay, now the cool things start, because let's rotate a bit and see from the top. Okay, now look at what I'm doing. I click this one, this button that is used to create a new pathway. So I click here, say start from here, and I create my path just by mouse clicking. And I follow my terminal. Try to stay in the middle because later I will enlarge a bit the path. Here and here. Done. Esc, my path is created. Now with the mouse wheel I zoom a bit, and you see when I put my mouse pointer over the path, and then I get this the mouse changing to this symbol, which means I can increase the path width. So I just keep the left mouse clicked and drag horizontally to increase a bit the path. That's fine. Okay, fine. Now, with the path selected, I open the properties of the path and I can populate with character. I use this template, which means a character are walking alone, back and forth. I had the count. I made some experiment. Unfortunately, I could go up to 999 character, but then the exchange is not able to convert because a file would be too big. I made some experiment. I found that around 100 and something is still okay to generate the character. So here, let's say I'm using 100 character, and then I want to start not from the beginning of the path. Say that I remove it just a bit. So you leave some space, the character start more or less from here, and more or less also they want go backwards, start from here. And also, the cross distribution is fine. 80-80 means they are keeping some distance from the border of the path. Basically that's it. Of course you can play with other kind of parameter like clustering, so say if some of I can just open some, increase some of them, so some of the character will work together, some alone. You have speed values. We have a lot of parameters you can play with, but that's not the target of this tutorial. So I generate as it is, and that's it. Generate. Now, because it takes some time, I will eventually skip this part. Let's see if it's fast enough. If not, I will just skip this part, and okay, that was fast enough, very fast. So you can see that my characters are now here populated. Again, it would be very cool if I can add 1000 characters here, but then I will not be able to export, so I limit to 100 characters. Now, that's it, nothing more to do. I need just to export the scene, so I go to Scene, Export as a 3D Scene. You must calculate the frame. Okay, before exporting, sorry, I need to decide here, I can click here, how many seconds I want to export and what is the frame rate. We have seen that 1224 is fine, we don't need to go crazy high. Also I can, let's say, well, I can export 10-12 seconds, I don't need to export more than this. Let's say 12 seconds, and okay, that's it, nothing else to do here. So I can finally export my scene. after a while I should get a pop-up window that asks me to set up the scene name, the name of the, not the scene name, the name of the FBX file, and then I can confirm the exporting. Now I will stop here because it takes a while, and I will, oh, it's here, okay. So I will not stop, but we are here, so let me save the name of the FBX file. So it's here. I can put directly here, I can choose where to put, so it will be easy then to find. Crowd FBX. Okay, that's the file name. I didn't want to create this inside here, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I will find it. Crowd. And okay, I try to be consistent, so if I imported in centimeter, I use centimeter. Texture quality, I don't need anything, so you can set up from insane to very low, but because it's not a close-up, I take the, then I will show you from the distance this moving crowd, so I don't need to create a really high texture quality. Everything else you can leave as it is, and I'll click export, and now I really stop here because this will take a while before it's finished, actually some minutes, not that long. So see you soon. Okay, now the crowd has been exported, you can see the character here moving, and that's fine. So now it's time to import the created FBX into iClone. To do this, we need to open it into 3D Exchange. So let me open it. So my crowd has been generated here. I import. This will take a while again, depending on the file size. Here we have 100 characters, so will takes really a while. So anyway, important that you import animation. I used 6 sample per second, 12 ISO. The 6 is still fine, it's not creating any issue. Anyway, you can experiment. We've just started using this software, so people are making some experiment. Okay, I leave everything like this. I use 1 millisecond. I see that it's fine enough, and that's it. Now, so this change start to opening the file and converting. Here I will stop till it's finished because this can take quite a while. So see you soon again. Okay, here we are. The FBX has been successfully imported in 3D Exchange. Here are our 100 little character, and we have also, you can see the animation included. You can test. You can see the character are moving here slowly. Okay, and now the next thing to do is to export everything to iClone. So I click export, and let me select the right directory. So that's okay, that's fine. I call it crowd. I use okay, I embed the texture inside, and I use a very small texture size because anyway this is the camera will see the character from the distance. And then make sure to export the animation, of course, if not you will never be able to move them, to have them animated. So then I click OK, and this operation again can take a while, so it's time for another little pause. Okay, now the crowd has been saved into an iProp for iClone, so now we can get into iClone and import it. Okay, here is my scene, and then I can simply import. I can use this one, this function import, and let's go to my directory. Here is my crowd. Okay, the file is big because it's 12-second animation with the many characters, and you can see the character are here. placed exactly where they expect to be. Now what I can do is also to set up the animation by clicking perform crowd animation, and you see what's happened. The characters are walking around my path. Perfect. Now let's open also the timeline. Let's stop the animation. Okay, the terrain I don't need anymore. It was just there to see if everything is okay. There is some little offset you can see. We can check, of course. Then you can try to adjust a bit. I see that maybe I should move the character a bit on the side, here on the x-axis. So if I modify the position, because I kind of a bit on the border, so I don't want anybody to fall down, they would hurt themselves. So I just move that on the x direction. So let's say I move maybe 57, let's say I move 10 units on the x, and let's see what's happened. Not so much. Make sure I select the crowd and not the terrain. Okay, I was moving the terrain. So the crowd are placed at 0. I just offset them a bit. Okay, maybe a bit more, maybe. That depends on what you plan to achieve. Of course. Oh, that was too much. Okay, that's kind of fine for me. Let's play. Okay, actually this character is walking a bit on this side. You can then trim a bit and try to... That also depends on how narrow is the path, because here my path was as large as this pathway. So in this case I could really move a bit more the character because here has some space. So let's move a bit more. Yeah, so they start to be a bit far away from this area. Alternatively, you can also in Anima directly set up the border so that the character never goes too close to the border of my path. Probably also you can also if you have some bumps like this, you can set up in Anima some avoid areas so they don't cross around here. But okay, that's a kind of trimming that of course you will do when you want to do a really fine-tuning of your scene. Anyway, then okay, I've already remade animation with the camera, so let's move to the high mode. I always work in quick mode because it makes the editing much faster. When I move to mid mode, finally the lights are the one that I expect to be, and I can finally make my animation. And you see my character there walking around the mountain, all them going back and forth. Again, there is some little offset, but this can be then easily. Okay, the animation is pretty much fine for the result I wanted to do, and of course again in Anima you can try to offset a bit the colors so they never stay too much close to the border. Yeah, different codes, so you can play with them with a bit of experience you can reach the final result. So that's basically what I wanted to show. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to subscribe also to my music channel that is here. You feel free to do it, and bye for this time. See you next time.